Hello and welcome to the 160th of a second photography podcast. This is being recorded for YouTube and of course it will make its way into my other platforms, but I'm doing things a bit differently on YouTube, or I'm trying to, so hopefully this will be better. Anyway, today's episode 164 is about the Great British Photography Challenge. So I'm based in the UK and I have the BBC in the UK. I pay my license fee, I have the BBC, and on BBC4, which is a very good channel, BBC4, you've got the Great British Photography Challenge, and it's hosted by Rankin. So what is it? Well, as I've said, it's a 1 hour show. I think there's going to be maybe 6 episodes, although it's unclear to tell at the moment. It's on BBC4. It's just about photography. There are 6 contestants, and over 4 weeks, we see what they do. And it's led by legendary photographer Rankin and his team. So I've watched the first episode, and we've got the next episode tomorrow, Monday, the 31st of May. Sorry, couldn't think of that. And I've already watched episode 1. I'm just going to talk about what I thought about episode 1 and what I've learned as well, and things that I feel about the show. So number 1, as you know, I've not done photography for such a long time. I've not been out there in the world. So watching it, I was so inspired. It really inspired me to get out there and do some photography. And actually, I did yesterday when I watched it, get out and do some photography. I got out and I used my 360 camera, not because of watching this, but because it was a nice day and I saw something. I thought, well, that would look good in 360. So I went out and I took it. Some nice flowers in my garden, and I got quite a good shot. So back to this anyway, it just really inspired me. I found it really inspiring. You could tell they were working in lockdown. They all had their face masks on. They were all socially distant in the production. It was really good. So they started off by doing some photos that described you. And these aren't professional photographers. They seem like hobbyists. And there's Georgie, who's one of the 6 photographers, and I really loved her street images. There's Chelsea, who actually lives fairly close to me, based on the town she's in. And Chelsea, I thought her images looked very film-like. Tyrone, I felt his images were wonderfully abstract, and he's clearly got quite a good style. And Rankin picked up on that, and Rankin sort of said, I hope you don't just keep to the same style. Jackson, his images look very good. Jackson does landscape photography. And I mean this in a good way when I say this. His images look like images I've seen on Unsplash. They have that very sort of Unsplash style. They look very good. I was very impressed with them. And there were 2 other photographers which, after watching the episode, they're starting to slip. There's Paul, who does nature, and there's another lady, I think she was called Jackie, but I just can't remember, or Lily or something. Might be later on in this deck. But anyway, they did this challenge where they had to bring along photos that describe you, and it was mainly about their family and things. And I found that really interesting. It was a really good icebreaker. So they went on to the first challenge. They had to go down to Brighton, and they had to sort of work to a brief, but it was smartphone photography only. And I thought that's an excellent first challenge, simply because it takes gear out of the equation. It doesn't matter if someone's got a DSLR or a certain lens. It doesn't matter, because they had to use their smartphone. It's a great democratizer, as Rankin said. And everyone there, you could tell, had a good mirrorless or DSLR camera. And they're sort of a bit concerned about using their smartphone. So anyway, I saw the images, and the image that I felt was the best, I think, came from Jackson. And Rankin said that, yeah, it's all right, it's nothing great. And I could tell he was quite taken back by that. But I think that was a really good first lesson. And the thing I've taken away from this show is Rankin's tagline, which is make the ordinary extraordinary. And that's something I'm going to try and do in my photography. I'm going to look at things that are ordinary, and I'm going to try and change how it's seen so it's extraordinary. And I've never thought about that before. Another one of his helpers said, there's the creator, there's the context, and there's the community. And I thought that was a really good tip as well. So you're the creator. You need to give the context and you need to capture the community of what you're doing. So they went out into nature, they went into a forest, and they were guided by Chris Packham, and he's a wildlife photographer. He's been on loads and loads of wildlife shows. His images were really good. And one of the things he told them was look up. If you look up in the forest, you'll see the leaves, you'll see the life. If you look down, you'll see all the fallen leaves. Life is up and death is down, I think he said. And very dramatic, but it was very good advice. He got a mirror and he would put a mirror behind a mushroom so that you got a reflection of what was up when you were photographing something. And that was a really good little tip. And at the end, they did portraits. They did portraits of Anna Friel. And by this point, they'd sort of settled in the contestants. And there were some really great images and really good images of Anna Friel. And they just look really good. Now, I'm going to continue to watch this this series as it goes through. I think it's a really good series. I really like the format that at the end, you are not eliminating someone. People stay to the end. It's not every show someone goes and there's some dance off or some sing off or, people are ranked and the bottom two have to fight it out. It's not like that. And that's really good. And as I say, I'll be watching the next episode. It's Monday at 9 o'clock on BBC4. And I'm recording this on Sunday. So for me, it's tomorrow. Now, I suppose a word of warning. Because I'm in the UK and because I pay for my TV license, I get to watch this. If you're listening and you're not a UK resident, then you might find it difficult to watch. So I know iPlayer, it's on iPlayer. That's how I watched it. There will be some geo restrictions built into iPlayer. So because I'm in the UK, I can access iPlayer. If I was trying to access iPlayer from outside the UK, I might find it more problematic. I guess you can get around that with maybe a VPN or other ways. But I would suspect that it might come out at some stage on one of the international streaming platforms like Netflix or that type of thing, because I've certainly seen BBC things on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, etc. So if you can't catch it this time around, no doubt you will be able to catch it at some point in the future if you are a worldwide viewer. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. Really good to see Rankin doing things I've admired his work for ages. Really little tips that I picked up on, which I was really pleased. And more than not, it inspired me. So I was really glad I watched it, and I'm going to watch the whole series. Thank you very much. And let me know what you think of this new YouTube look. Thank you and goodbye.